Hello. Hello. Hey.
Hello.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah.
Yes, you're
Yes,
Can anyone respond in the
yes, you're
yes,
audible.
Can anyone respond in the call so that whether you guys are able to hear me or not? Let me check. Someone joined with the name of Sai. Sai, can you hear me? Hello. Sai, Durga Prasad,
Yeah, I can
Lakshmi.
hear you.
I can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Sorry. Now I think you can hear me, my voice. There could be some kind of mic issue. Okay. So, Muhammad Abdul Mukim, can you remind me what is our last class? Hello. Guys, can you please respond and through voice so that it could easy to understand you guys are able to hear me or not. Akhilesh,
Yes,
Akhilesh.
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. What is our last class? What I was explaining in our last class. I mean, in a Friday session. I think in coming to AWS class, I just explained in our previous session, it could be like, IP addressing and subnetting, right? And subnetting. Okay. So is there any questions or is there any doubts coming from this particular two things, IP addressing and the subnetting? If you have any kind of questions regarding about IP addressing and subnetting, and this time you can ask me so that I can try to answer your questions. The necessity also I can that we need to understood actually. Okay. See guys, you are all working in one specific company, okay? So that you can call it like a Google, okay? You're all employees of Google, right? Okay. So when you are working with a Google, the Google is providing some kind of missions to you all or not? Like they are providing some kind of PCs, right? Okay. Each and every PC, it could have some kind of address or not? Okay. The addresses, it could have the two kind of addresses. One is public IP address and second one is the private IP address. Okay. So the Google, which is providing some kind of group of okay, a private IP addresses. And with help of this private IP address, internally the team can be communicated to each other. Okay. So, and the process of assigning the IP addresses to the missions that we are calling it's a subnetting. So you don't need to worry about subnetting concepts and IP addresses, and the assigning the IP addresses to the missions, which is taken care by the networking guys as well as AWS admin guys. But you need to know that each and every mission could be communicated through IP address only. Okay, is it clear? Okay. Now, so this session, what I would like to go for explain, I want to deploy the emission. I want to deploy the emission on AWS cloud. Okay, this session I'm talking about deploying a server. You can call it as a server or else mission or else instance. Okay, and deploying a server or mission on AWS cloud. How you could how you could deploy a mission or server on AWS cloud, and what are the things we require that we need to talk now. Okay. Okay, cool. See, let me consider this is one region. Okay, this is one region. Like it could be like any region, like it was one region. So the region, it could consisting of the availability zones or not. This is one availability zone, and this is one availability zone. Okay, and it was another availability zone. Okay, so the region, it could have the multiple availability zone. This all availability zones are isolated to each other, right or not? Okay, see, for example, if you deploy the emission on one availability zone, for example, you deploy one server on availability zone 1, and you deployed the emission on availability zone 2, and this server which belongs to one company, for example, the server what you are deployed in availability zone 1, which is belongs to the Facebook, and the server what you are deployed on availability zone 2 or 3, it was, for example, Google. Okay. Okay. See, if these two are connected to which are different availability zones, but which are isolated to each other, right? Each and every availability zone which are connected with isolation. It could have some kind of isolation connection, right? Okay. By the time the server can easily communicate it to or not, the server can easily communicate it to this Google server or not. The Facebook server can be easily connected to or communicated to Google server or not. So that moment, so you are facing an issue. The issue is security issue. Yes or no? See, when you are when you are deploying the two different missions or two different companies missions, you deployed on different, even it is a different availability zones because of isolation. Okay, so those two servers can be communicated to each other, which means that there could be some kind of a security issue. We are facing some kind of security issue. And one more thing is that, and unfortunately, the server IP address and this server IP address, it may be a chance same, right? Because if it's a private IP addresses, if it is a private IP addresses, there might be a chance two servers could have the same IP addresses. If in case, if the two servers are having the same IP address, what happens? You might be facing two issues. Okay. So one is security issue. Second one is IP issue, IP addressing issue. So how you can solve this issue? How you can able to solve this kind of issue? Okay. How the AWS, not you actually, how the AWS is solving this issue? Okay. By the time on AWS region, or else in any one of the region, and it could have the various availability zones. This is one availability zone, and this is one availability zone. Okay. So what I can do for Facebook, I can create some kind of virtual private cloud. Okay. Basically, it is a AWS, it is a public cloud. Basically, AWS is a public cloud, so that the communication, if it is a public cloud, then there is no it could everything could be in the same platform, right? Okay. by the time what exactly the AWS is come up with this it was come up with one particular solution. The solution is virtual private cloud. Okay, VPC. The concept is VPC. So what AWS is providing and which is creating some VPC and virtual private cloud and which belongs to the Facebook. Okay. And meanwhile, and it was creating the one more VPC for the Google. It was creating the one more VPC for the Google. So for example, if you deploy the one server here, if you deploy the one server here, and these two servers are belongs to the Facebook, and these two can be communicated to each other. That's not an issue, because if you're, the server which belongs to the Facebook, then those it can be communicated. That's not an issue, right? And మీరు అటెండ్ అవ్వట్లేదండి అమ్మ క్లాస్లో. Okay. See guys, so AWS is solving this issue with help of the VPC concept. VPC means virtual private cloud. So virtual private cloud in the sense, so which is creating some kind of logical boundary, on top of the region. So if you create, if you are going to be creating the VPC on one region, so on top of the region, which means that this VPC which can be, it can be extended to entire all the availability zones within this particular region. Okay, fine. So you are just creating the logical boundary, right? But how it can be like how we can if you are trying to be go for installing any server, if you have a logical boundary, it won't work actually. So that what we can do, we need to go for signing the subnets. We need to make it the subnets on VPC. If and only if you are assigning the subnets to the VPCs, then the VPC could be physical, otherwise which is logical only. Okay, by the time of subnets, and so if you want to be installing any server, if you are installing any server or on top of AWS, or if you want to deploy the any server on AWS, so here we have points we need to remember. One is you should have the VPC, and second one is you need to be assigning the subnets. Next one is internet gateway. For example, the necessity of internet gateway is, for example, this is AWS, and here we have one VPC, and so internally the servers can be communicated, but this server, it has to be go for communicated to the internet. Okay, sometimes it need to be connected to the internet or not. That means outside of that servers, that's internal. Okay, it has to be connected to the public, right? How it was connecting? So here we have some kind of internet gateway is there. Okay, through the internet gateway only, so these servers can be communicated. So you need to aware of the internet gateway and routing. So route table also you need to aware of it. For example, the communication could be internally, or else the communication it was for external, so that we can defining with help of the route table. Okay, last but not least, it could be security groups. Okay, so VPC, subnet, internet gateway, route table, and security gateway. This is the 5 things we need to remember before you are creating or before you are deploying your mission on top of AWS cloud. Clear? Clear or not? So practically we'll see, will be go for creating or will be go for deploying the server on top of the AWS, and the steps and everything I can explain you one by one. And the first thing is that we need to go for open your AWS console. You guys are hear me, right? Okay, let's click on the VPC. So once if you're okay, fine. Okay, so before you're creating the VPC, the first thing is that we need to select the selected region. So which region you want to be work on it? For example, Virginia. Okay, I selected the Virginia region. Okay, fine. So now within this particular Virginia region, I would like to go for creating the VPC. That means once if we creating the VPC, it is for it is for Virginia region. But internally the Virginia region it might having the multiple availability zones. So we can able to go for deploy the any mission on top of the Virginia region. Okay, fine. Let me go for create the VPC, and here we have here we have VPC only, and give the name of the VPC. For example, I would like to go for creating the virtual private cloud for one particular company. The name of the company is, for example, Google. Okay. And by the time, so here we have to providing that, your IP address range, address space, how many servers you want to be deploying on the top of Virginia region, with, Google's, the Google they might have some kind of requirement. They want 65,000 servers they want to deploy in that particular region. Okay. So that 10.1.0.0 by 16. So which means that total you can deploy the 65,000 servers. You can deploy the 65,000 servers you can deploy on top of the Virginia region. Okay. And create VPC. Once the VPC is created, now next what we can do, we have to enable the we have to go for enable the DNS. Here VPC settings are there. You can select this one. Here we have an option actions, and here we have the VPC editing settings. And I would like to enable the enable DNS host name. So if you enable the DNS host name, you might have some kind of name. So with help of that name, we can access. Save this one. So this way you just creating the VPC. That means logical boundary you created. But if you want to deploy any missions, we have to associate this VPC on availability zones. In which availability zone you want to deploy the missions, so that we need to subnet actually. Okay. So click on the subnet, and we need to go for creating the subnet. Before creating the subnet, which is asking that on which VPC should I need to select. So here it is a Google VPC, right? So I'm selecting the Google VPC, and this is for VPC IP address range. This is Google VPC IP version 4 range. So on one specific availability zone. So here we have on which availability zone we need to select. So on Virginia, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 availability zones are there on top of Virginia region. Okay. So from this particular availability zones, we can select any one of it. So I'm selecting this availability zone 1, US is 1A. Next one is on top of this availability zone, and how many servers I want to be deployed. That we can defining with help of this subnet. This VP4 which belongs to the subnet, not VPC. Okay. So this is the 10.1.0.0, right? So this is under 65,000 total servers we can deploy on all the availability zones. On single availability zone, how many subnets and how many servers I want to be deployed. That we can specify with help of the 10.1.1. Okay. 10.1.1 0 by, for example, 24 or 24, whatever it is, it's up to you. Okay. And you can give the name of this one is Google Subnet 1. Subnet 1. Okay. And next, create the subnet. This way, you're just creating the subnet. Okay. After you creating the subnet, so you can deploy directly missions on VPC. But thing is that if the servers, it has to be go for connecting to the internet, right? It means it has to be go for connecting the public as well, right? Not for internal private only, right? Okay. For that one, we have to associate the internet gateway. So click on the internet gateway, and here we have an option is like create internet gateway, and give the name is, and every VPC it should have only one internet gateway, and create. So once if your internet gateway is created, now what you should do actually, we need to attach VPC. Okay, here we have an option. You can select this one. Once if you're selecting this one, here we have an option for actions and attach to VPC, and click on the VPC and select the which VPC you are associating this internet gateway, and attach the internet gateway. So this way you are creating the VPC, subnet, and internet gateway. Fine. But how it was connected, how it was communicating, so that we have to give some kind of route. So for that one, we have to go for the route table or route table. So by default, it was creating some default route table, but I would like to go for creating our own route table as well. So create route table and give the name of the route table is Google route. Okay, and select the VPC. Okay, and create the route table. So fine. Once if you're creating the route table, and here you have to associate some kind of options. We have to enable some options here. Subnet association, and here, so which subnets it has to be go for communicating that you are not assigned it so far. So that click on the subnet association and edit subnet association, and select the all the subnets belongs to that particular VPC. And so far I'm just creating only one subnet and save the association. Okay, and fine. So subnet association is also done, but you need to give the directions, right? How you can give the directions, and how here we have the routes are there. Okay, the routes by default edit routes, and it's like a 10.1.0. It can be communicated only local, but I want to communicate it to now outside, right? If you want to communicate outside, here we have the add route is there, and 0.0.0.0 by 0, which meaning is that other than this range of IP addresses, and it can be the signals, the data, it could be sent to the internet gateway. Okay, I'm selecting the internet gateway so that it is communicating. So other than this range of data, other than this IP addresses, if anything, I want to send any data other than this range of IP address, it can be directly go to the internet gateway. Okay, that is the meaning of this one. Okay, save the changes. So this way you are just creating the VPC, subnet, and internet gateway route table, and it is very, very important security groups. So security groups are so how we can go for creating the security groups, and once if you're creating the security groups, then you have to associate that security groups as well. Okay, and create the security group and give the name of the security group is any name you can provide you. SG security group. Hello. So you can give any description. Hello. Google. Okay. So here this is the your Google IP Google VPC and VPC ID. Okay. If you're not if you're not remember, then what we can do, we can copy the VPC, and yeah, I will show you this one and this Google VPC, and this one is the same or not. Okay. Okay. See this IP, sorry, this VPC ID and here VPC ID both are same. If it is not same, then we can copy this VPC ID, then we can paste here, then it will be selecting the your Google VPC only. So here we have to set the inbound rules. So here you are going to be allowing all the traffic. Okay, select the all traffic and VPC anywhere VP4. Okay, and then save the security group. That way you can able to creating the security groups. Okay, now this time we would like to go for launch your mission on AWS mission on AWS. Now all the services, and we would like to go for launch the server on AWS cloud, and that to Virginia region only. Okay, and click on the VC2, and so here we have the instance, and so far I don't have any kind of instance here. Here I would like to go for launch the instance and give the name of this instance. For example, I would like to go for deploying the web server, Google web server. Okay, that's my server name. Web server is server name. And here we have operating systems, and those are Amazon images, AWS images, and you can select any one of it, or else you can select the third party Amazon servers as well. Okay, I mean operating systems, and or else you can create your own version, your own operating system as well. Okay, I selected the free trial here and instance, and see here it is asking that key pair, right? So when coming to the key pair, if it is not available, you can create. If you have already key pair, then we can select that one. Okay, so creating the new key pair. This is for one key pair is fair enough for all the servers. Okay, Google key pair. Okay, PEM, and every time you can download the PEM only. PPK also could be used for for connecting through PuTTY. This is for SSH communication. This is for PuTTY communication. So even you can create the PEM to PPK file, and but you can't create the PPK to PEM files. Okay, so that select the PEM file only. Okay, and create the key pair, and you're selecting the Google key pair only, and here the Google key pair PEM file was downloaded, and it was in some safe place only. And here we have edit networking setting. So far you creating the various things, right? Like your let me go for select your Google VPC and select the which subnet you want to be deploy your mission, and auto assigning the public. So you have to enable the auto assigning. Okay. So if you're assigning that, if you're assigning this one, then a public IP address could be created. Okay. And so I already creating the security group, so that select the existing security groups, and so Google SG. Then after launch the instance. That's it. So guys, that way you can simply creating the any that way you can that way you can deploy the any mission on AWS cloud. Okay. Any questions? So you can try yourself and creating at least one server, and by tomorrow what we can do, we can try to go for connecting with that server. Okay, from either from PuTTY, or else either from Git Bash, or else any one of command line interface. You can try to connect from your local mission to your AWS mission. Okay, so guys, that's for today's session, and we'll meet by tomorrow for continuation of this instance connectivity. So today's session is just for deploying the mission on top of AWS cloud. Okay, take care. Bye. See you. If you have
Thank
any
you.
questions, please let me know. I can answer your questions.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Do we have recording for this?
Yes, I do have a recording for this one. And so if you don't have, I already sent you that, the recordings link to your mail IDs. And if you're not received that, mail from the Canvas, then you can put a message in the chat. Okay. So I can
Yeah,
try to.
actually, I haven't. I can put the message in the chat. I haven't received the email actually.
I'm not have your. Where is your mail ID?
Yeah, just a minute. I'm just sharing it.
Yesterday I missed the class. I think I after listening this class, I think I didn't miss anything, right? Yesterday is there. It was class.
Yesterday class was not happened. My health is not good in yesterday even. So
Okay,
that's
okay.
it's being late. That's the reason today I took the session actually. So
Okay.
you're not miss any kind of sessions. Okay. And even
Yeah.
though if you miss any session and just go and see that the playlist of the Canvas, then you can able to see all the recordings.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So guys, here.
So I shared my email in the link. Sorry, in the chat.
Yes, I'm received it.
Thank you.
Can you please cross check your mail ID? Is it same with the mail ID you shared with me?
Yes, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So after 5 minutes, you will receive the mail from the Canvas, and you can click on the Get Started. Then you can select, you can accept that invitation, and then you can set your own password and create the Canvas account. Set your own password, and with the help of that mail ID and password, you can access that recordings. Every time. You won't get any kind of notifications regarding about recordings uploading and everything. Okay, the recordings could be you can see here itself. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you'll get this kind of prompt. Okay. Thank you
Okay,
guys.
yeah,
Bye.
it's
Take care.
as per the date. Yeah, that
Yep,
works. Thank
yep,
you.
yep.
Hi, today
Sure.
was my first session actually, so I missed previous sessions. If you
Yeah,
have,
you can share me your mail ID so that I can
yes,
try
I
to give
sent
you.
you, yeah, in a
Okay.
chat. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Yes, fine.
yeah,
So fine. I'm adding it.
sure.
So you also could be same thing. You will get the email from the Canvas website. Okay.
Sure.
And so you can accept the invitation. So if and only if you accept the invitation, then only you can able to access this recording. Otherwise, it's not possible. Okay.
Sure. Thanks.
Is there anyone or did any kind of recordings? Please let me know. Done.
Thank
See you
you.
guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir.